Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 5-1, ratios. This lesson is found on page 184. Today we will learn how to write ratios as fractions in simplest form and simplify ratios involving measurements. Now, a ratio, boys and girls, looks like a fraction, but it is not a fraction, okay? Keep in mind, it is not a fraction. Okay, it's not a fraction. It's actually a comparison of two numbers. As you can see here, a ratio is a comparison of two quantities, two numbers, by division. That's why it's written as it looks like a fraction. But a ratio is often written like this, 3 to 9. We could say, for example, we have 3 boys to 9 girls in the classroom, or 3 boys to 9 students, or 3 out of 9 students, or 3 over 9 students. So 1/3 of the boys, 1/3 of the classroom is boys. You could say it like that too. In algebra, we would use variables a to b, or a to b, or a over b. So you know that a fraction is a part of a number, right? It's a part of one of the same thing. But a ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. If the first number being compared is less than the second, the ratio is usually written as a fraction in simplest form. Ratios can express part to part, part to whole, or whole to part relationships. Meaning part to part when we compare them, like 3 to 9 as we did earlier, or part to a whole, okay? Part to part means, for example, if we have 9 students in the classroom, okay? So we have 9 students in total. We could say that out of those 9 students, we have 3 that are boys and 6 that are girls. This would be doing part to part. This is one part of a whole, and this is one part of a whole. We could also do part to a whole, where we can say 3 are boys out of 9 in the entire class, which could also be written as a fraction like this in simplest form, which would be 1/3. An example, this might be a question you could be asked. Express the ratio 12 baskets in 18 attempts as a fraction in simplest form. So you have 12 baskets, you've made 12 shots, but you tried 18 times as you were shooting the basketball. What would that be in simplest form? Well, you look for a common multiple for these two numbers, and they're both multiples of 6. Here you have 2 of them, and here you have 3 of them. So it would be 2/3. So when you were playing basketball, you made 2/3 of your shots. For every 3 shots you took, you made 2 of them. And you can see it here. Also, 2/3 of the shots attempted were baskets were made. Okay, let's try this one. Refer to the table. Okay, here we have the table. We have animals and their lifespan, how many years they live on average. Express the ratio of the lifespan of a bottlenose dolphin to the lifespan of a mouse as a ratio in simplest form. Explain its meaning. Okay, so we have bottlenose dolphin lives for 30 years and the mouse lives for 3. Okay, you can zoom in and you can see that right there. I would write this as 30 to 3, right? For 30. You can also write it as 10 to 1. If you wanted to write it as a fraction, it would be 10 over 1, which just simply equals 10. Okay? And how do we express this in words? Well, this means that for every 10 years a bottlenose dolphin lives, a mouse lives 1 year. Right? Makes sense. For every 10 years that a bottlenose dolphin lives, the mouse lives 1. You can see the ratio right there. And that's what this means. Please copy this down, okay, as a key answer right below the question. Okay, example 2 is very similar. You can see here that 10 out of every 30 Americans own a portable MP3 player, like an iPod. Express this ratio as a fraction in simplest form. Explain its meaning. So we have 10 for every 30. Okay? 10 for every 30. If we were to simplify that, we can take out the zeros, and now we have 1 for every 3. Right? So 1/3. So 1 out of every 3 Americans owns an iPod. There it is. 1 out of every 3 Americans, 1 out of 3 Americans own a portable MP3 player. Let's try the example together. 15 out of 100. Okay, I'm just going to write that ratio right now. Remember, this is not a fraction, boys and girls. This is a comparison of two quantities. We have 15 out of 100. 15 means something than the 100. So this is a comparison of a part to a whole. So 15 out of 100 campsites at a campground are reserved for campers with pets. So pets can't go everywhere. You can only go to 15 out of every 100. Express this ratio as a fraction in its simplest form. Okay, well, you can see that they're both divisible by 5, right? How many 5s do we have here? On the top we have 3 of them. And 20 divided by 100 divided by 5 is 20. So now we say it in the simplest form. 3 out of every 20 campsites is reserved for pets. We could also say it like this. For every 20 campsites, 3 are reserved for campers with pets. Again, this is another key answer. Please copy it right below the question. Now this is very important, okay? Make sure that you keep note of this. When writing a ratio involving measurements, units of measurement such as meters or even miles, kilometers, if it's standard or standard customary, US customary, or metric, both quantities should have the same unit of measurement. Make sure that you convert it so that they both have the same unit of measurement. Now this is where you have to get to know how many ounces are in pounds. Express the ratios of 8 ounces to 3 pounds as a fraction in simplest form. I cannot write 8 to 3 because this is not the part of a whole of the same size, of the same unit. I have to either convert this number to pounds or this number to ounces. It's easier to convert this to ounces. There are 16 ounces in a pound, okay? So it's 3 times 16 is what I have to solve first. And now it becomes 8 out of 48, because 3 times 16 is 48. And now it's all in ounces. When I simplify this, I see that they're both multiples of 8. Here I have 1 8 and here I have 6 of them. So my new simplified fraction, or ratio, sorry, is 1 out of 6. So how do we write this? Express the ratio. Oh, there's no therefore statement, just written in simplest form. The ratio is 1/6. There it is. Okay, and now we're going to express 15 inches to 1 foot. I have my 15 inches to 1 foot. 1 foot has 12 inches, so 1 times 12, right? 1 foot has 12 inches. So there's my foot and my inches, so I multiply them together. And now my new ratio is 15 to 12. And when I simplify them, I see that they're both multiples of 3, right? They're both multiples of 3. Here I have 5 of them, and here I have 4 of them. So my ratio is 5 to 4, or 5 over 4. Now, this is not an improper fraction, boys and girls. Again, we're not writing a fraction. This is just another way to write a comparison of two numbers, a ratio. And here's the guided practice. We will do this in class as soon as you get back, and the independent practice you will also complete in class. Whatever you don't complete from the independent practice in class, it will be homework. See you in class.